Hi, everybody, and welcome to another one of our integration webinars. Today, we'll be covering the Akero and Hubspot integration. Just for a bit of an introduction, my name is Julian, and I'm the CRO manager here at Akero and Net Natives. And so my role is to provide sort of consultative services in order to assist with your student recruitment. And in this case, talk about how an integration between Akero and Hubspot can really help you gain and retain students with valuable insight that can be used to optimize your student marketing. I'll let my colleague Liv introduce herself.
Hi everyone, so my name's Liv and I'm product success exec here at Akero. So my role is predominantly providing onboarding and adoption services to ensure that our Akero clients are making the most out of their platform. So like Julian said, we'll be talking about the kind of importance of integrating into HubSpot, how to set it up, and without kind of disrupting your daily processes, as well as the benefits and the impact it will have on your student marketing and recruitment efforts. So as we're going through, if anyone's got any questions whatsoever, please just drop them in the kind of webinar chat and the Q&A box below. So to start off with, so kind of everything that kind of stands behind what we do here at Net Natives and Akero is our mission is to use data, technology and creativity to transform the way students connect with opportunities to change the world. So today we'll be focusing on the kind of data and technology aspects of that and how we can provide support to make sure that it's not just an integration that gives you leads, but a gold standard integration that enables you to truly maximize your marketing and recruitment efforts. So the focus of today's session is going to be two parts. So the first part is going to be covered by me and why you should integrate with Akero. And then the second part is going to be done by Julian, and he'll be running through the kind of steps as to how to best set up this gold standard integration between Akero and HubSpot. So why should you integrate with Akero? So an integration with Akero is kind of the best practice for streamlining your work and will save you time and will ensure that you have one source of truth for data across all your departments as well as your stakeholders at your institution. It will allow you to see a prospective student's journey from that first ad all the way through to enrollment and provide your institution with the tools that allows you to take action and control of your marketing and recruitment efforts. So we can see here by the slide, the student journey isn't linear and is incredibly complex. They can enter the cycle at any point from advertising, emails, events, and so on. So it's really important to be able to zoom in on that exact journey that an individual student goes through from that first touch point all the way through to enrollment. So this is where you have to ask the questions, how did they enter the cycle? You need to know that a prospect didn't just come from advertising, but that they came from a specific campaign, from a specific platform, right down to that initial first ad. So not only does this allow you to know kind of what is and isn't working for you in terms of your advertising, but what each individual journey looks like for each student and how you're connecting them and helping them through this recruitment process. So an integration enables you to pull all of that information back into Akero in the most streamlined and automated way possible without disrupting your day-to-day. It enables you to track that first source of how they entered the cycle in the first place and the journey that they went on to apply and enroll, giving you the kind of complete picture and understanding of what that looks like. So all departments and stakeholders can track this journey in one place. Next, an integration also enables you to kind of bridge the gap between departments. So historically, admissions and marketing teams operate in silos, with admissions kind of focusing on generating the leads, the recruitment process, and they don't always have the insight into how the marketing budget is being spent. So they're handed the leads and then they handle the rest of the process. And then on the other side, you have marketing who are helping to generate these leads. And once leads come in, they don't have any visibility on whether or not that lead goes on to apply and enroll. So they're kind of blind by how their campaigns are performing beyond kind of impressions and clicks. So again, what an integration with Akero will enable you to do is bridge the gap between the two and have complete visibility all the way through the funnel. Beyond these kind of impressions and clicks for actual applications and leads, so that everyone's kind of understanding the impact of their marketing and recruitment. So this is where Akero's enrollment attribution feature comes in. We want to help institutions attribute every application and enrollment back to the original advertising message and media that first got that student's attention, to give you meaningful and actual outcomes from your advertising, as well as demonstrating the ROI of your advertising spend. So some of the benefits that we have already touched upon is all about better visibility of students for admissions and marketing through the funnel in real time. So all department stakeholders across your institution can see this instantaneously in Akero without pulling reports. So you can quickly and really easily understand how students are moving through the process. You'll get direct understanding of ROI of your advertising. So you're spending X amount of money and gaining X amount of applications and enrollments. You'll have better optimized campaigns. So this can inform current campaigns, but also future campaigns to optimize towards marketing strategies and the channels, platforms that are generating the most applications and enrollments to make sure that you're really maximizing your marketing budgets. It allows you to connect all performance data in one place across all departments and allows you to do zero-based budgeting. So to build out the integration, what you would use is our contact pipelines in Akero, which would map out the funnel stages. These are completely customizable in Akero, and they would mimic exactly what is in your CRM. So it doesn't alter your kind of daily processes, and it's really easy to understand. So this gives you an overview as to what the student journey looks like, and you can see conversions at each stage of the funnel, any choke points in the journey, as well as the ability to zoom in on a much more granular level for each individual prospect's journey. So for example, you'll be able to see if prospective students attended an open day, you can see how many went on to apply and enroll, enabling you to see exactly what part does attending an open day play in the broader recruitment process. What you'll also be able to do is segment based on characteristics that you want to track. So you can see leads that came from a particular platform and see the individuals who have been engaged by those platforms. So you'll be able to see, for example, how many leads came from Facebook and went on to actually apply. But then you can go one step further than this. You can see what prospective student journey looks like from Facebook in comparison to a prospective student that came from Google. How do these recruitment journeys differ? And how can you give them a more personalized journey at each of these stages based on the platforms that they came from? So from that pipeline view, we would then zoom out, and this is where you would see our advertising enrollment attribution. So then you'd be able to see exactly how we're performing against these kind of key elements of tracking prospect, cost per application, and cost per enrollment, and see the actual costs against our goals. So this allows us to give really actionable insight. If our cost of application is too high, we don't want to just be pushing budget through the top of the funnel. We want to be able to push budget through kind of that funnel where people get stuck between inquiry and application. So here you can kind of see a screenshot of our feature, and you can see we spend X amount of money to enroll X amount of students. So then you know for the following year, you'll need X amount of budget, and then you can start to work off this idea of zero-based budgeting. And then what we can do is we can zoom out even further. So we can see how each of these platforms are doing and how to utilize these platforms for their ultimate goals to get prospects to understand who you are and build that connection with your institution. So you'll be able to see cost efficiencies of the different platforms within your campaign. So whether this is TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, we can optimize towards the channels that are delivering on these KPIs, and then how this translates into applications and enrollments. So you can reinvest your budget into the platforms that are generating the most prospects, applications, and enrollments for your institution. So that was a kind of a whistle-stop tour of how the importance of integrating into Akero and the benefits of doing so, and how everything comes together, and it starts by this Akero and Hubspot integration. So now I'll hand over to Julian, who will take you through the actual steps as to how to set up this integration.
Brilliant. Thank you, Liv. So yeah, exactly. We come to the point as to why integrate. And, you know, having a well-defined tech stack helps improve your institution's efficiency by integrating your prospect data from all those various sources that Liv has just mentioned. So website, surveys, advertising, events, CRM data. And whether you're using HubSpot as your main CRM or you're using it in combination with your CRM, this is where Akero can really come in and help you sort of define that zero-based budgeting that Liv's just mentioned. So this is why an integration is the best practice for streamlining your work. It will save you time in the long run, and it will help in ensuring that you have one source of truth for your data, essentially. So for example, Akero has a variety of features that can assist with student recruitment and can easily and directly be integrated with HubSpot. Because Akero is student focused, this is why we've developed these contact pipelines, for example, that specifically and visualize that entire student journey for you, and then also allows you to see how well your marketing is doing against that student journey. But, you know, to name a few, Akero can also provide you with custom workflow automation, email and SMS functionality, A/B testing of forms, but then also our incredibly helpful insights section, where you can find daily and weekly updates about student data and student information that can then inform the campaigns that you're creating, that you can also do directly through Akero. as already mentioned, using Akero doesn't mean that it has to disrupt your day-to-day in HubSpot. The aim of this integration is to track that marketing spend. What we want to do is know the exact cost of a prospect, of an applicant, and of an enrollment, whether that is at campaign level or overall. So we want to help you attribute every application and enrollment back to the original advertising message and media that first got your students' attention. So this means that you can finally get the ultimate understanding of the return of investment that's been needed for so long. And so this also gives us like an informed budgeting decision in order to, continuously improve advertising and enrollment performance. But then also for you to have that information, but if you're running your campaigns with us, that also gives us all the information that we need to be able to optimize your advertising in real time against one true metric of success, which is the true cost per application and enrollment for each individual advertising channel and message. So with this in mind, let us show you how easy the implementation really is. But firstly, a little bit about what we view as the gold standard for integrations. And so step one would be all campaign lead data is captured by Akero forms. What that allows us to do is to immediately have that data within Akero. So then we can use that for lookalike audiences to optimize the current live campaigns. But then that data through the integration will also immediately be sent to HubSpot. So you'll have both, you'll have the lead in both platforms simultaneously, but it will allow us to be able to optimize those campaigns for you as the leads are coming through. Step two, which is Akero forms are multi-part and include at minimum a second part that captures lead quality. So this is really, really important in terms of qualifying your leads. By having more than one part to a form, it allows you to ask those more qualifying questions in the second part. So, for example, for events, to be able to know how many people are coming to those events, whether they need any accessibility, things like that. Those are the sort of questions that if you had in the first part of your form can potentially cause form abandonment. But because you're splitting your form into two parts, if leads only submit part one, you still gathering that information. If leads go on to submit part two, it allows you to have more information without affecting that form completion rate. And that's why this is a really important sort of step in our gold standard integration. Step three is having a two-way integration. So lead data is transferred in real time from Akero to your CRM system. So whether that's whether you're doing your CRM within HubSpot or whether that's in a different platform, we want to be able to have that two-way integration that lead goes through to HubSpot. When that person becomes an applicant, that person comes back to Akero so we can update in the pipelines and we can see exactly where they are in the journey real time. Step four, the institutions or admissions recruitment funnel is mapped to an Akero pipeline, which is what we've shown you in a previous slide. So we want to be able to create a contact pipeline in Akero that mirrors your internal application process. So that's from initial inquiry all the way through to when an application is started, submitted, when an offer is made, and when that prospect has ultimately enrolled. Because that allows you to really optimize your advertising and be able to see what campaigns and what channels and what messaging really works. So the point that I've already covered as well, step five, which is it covers the journey from initial lead to enrollment. And the reason as to why we want that to happen is so we can get for you the exact cost of a lead, the exact cost of an applicant, and the exact cost of an enrollment for you to do that zero-based budgeting. Step six, the two-way integration. As the prospect and applicant moves through the admissions process, the current status and stage is transferred from the institution CRM back to Akero at least daily. So we want to be able to know every single day exactly how many new leads you've got, how many more people have started an application, and how many have enrolled day by day, because that allows us to every single day optimize those campaigns and create these lookalike audiences and improve conversion. And so with that, we move on to Akero to HubSpot. So when data first comes into Akero, through a multi-part form that you've created, step one is just to create a workflow in Akero. It's a very simple workflow. which is the trigger for any lead that comes into Akero, whether that's from an in-platform lead or whether that's somebody that's completed an Akero form, for that prospect to be sent to Zapier. And we use Zapier as the intermediary between Akero and HubSpot. What that does through that one really simple workflow is that means that that data can automatically, every time a lead comes into Akero, is sent through to HubSpot via Zapier. What we do to initially set that up is once the workflow is completed, once you've got a test lead in the system by completing one of the new forms that you've created, you just manually trigger that workflow on a test lead that contains all the data that you want to send from Akero to HubSpot. So once you've done that, and as you can see from the screenshots here, like the bottom screenshot is an example of a really simple form that's been created in Akero. The top screenshot is an example of a workflow that you can create, and then the middle screenshot is the confirmation that's been sent to HubSpot. At this point, then you log into your Zapier account, and it's another really simple workflow. So in your Zapier account, create a Zap, which is whenever a new lead is created in Akero, you can then just select your account. So you just put in your Akero login details, and then all you need to do is test the trigger. So the deal step will automatically pull that lead data from Akero for you to be able to have a look, make sure that all the data is pulled through, so then you can send it through via Zapier to HubSpot. At this point, you just do the final action of sending that data through that Zap. So the action for the Zap is select your HubSpot account, log in, choose the action. So you can select what action you want to happen in HubSpot. And the benefit of this is that there's a plethora of different actions that can happen. From when a lead is created in Akero, you can choose to create a new contact or update a contact within HubSpot. You can remove a contact from a specific list. You can add a contact to a workflow. You can add a contact to a new list within HubSpot. So the possibilities are endless, depending on what action you want to happen from Akero through to HubSpot. As an example, we have a current client in which as soon as a lead is created within Akero, they are automatically added to a specific list in HubSpot with all the UTM parameters and all the information. And then that ensures that once that person becomes an applicant within HubSpot, they then come back to Akero in the steps that I'll show you in a second. So as you can see here, once you've selected the action or the event, so for example, to create or update a contact in HubSpot, it then allows you to select all the fields that you pulled from Akero and then match them to the corresponding fields that you've created or you currently have in HubSpot. So really simple Zap to create. And then that, as soon as that Zap is live, then that data will just automatically flow. Once that prospect is going from Akero through to HubSpot and they become an applicant, if, for example, you have a specific list in HubSpot for applicants, what we can do at that point is just another really simple Zap in which the process is reversed. So in your Zapier account, you just create another Zap in which the trigger in this instance is your HubSpot account. You then select what action you want in HubSpot to trigger sending that data to Akero. As an example, when a prospect enters that applicant list, and then you can just test that trigger. When you click on test, that step means that we'll automatically pull that lead data from your HubSpot, the same way that we did in the previous stage from Akero. You can now then select your action in your Zap to finalize the entire integration. So when a new lead is created, you can then, the step will just ensure that that information is going back. In the same sort of way, you'll be able to match the exact data that you have for that contact in your HubSpot account and be able to choose, pick and choose exactly what data you want coming back, back to Akero. As an example, you know, we'd want to know the applicant data for that prospect. So if within HubSpot, you regularly have all your stage code, like your stage codes and then your applicant process and your applicant decisions and your applicant statuses, we would recommend that you send that back to Akero, because then we can create that pipeline for you and then those prospects are automatically updated. So really quick and really simple in terms of how to set up that Akero and Hubspot integration. So essentially, it could be something as simple as one workflow in Akero and 2 Zaps for you to be able to have that integration going. If there's a specific use case that you want to happen in between platforms, then we'd love to help you with your marketing and your integration needs. We'd love to help you with the tech stack and make sure that all of your platforms and your systems that you log into every day are sort of working together for you to be able to have that zero-based budgeting and all that really valuable information, not just about like clicks and impressions, but actually about applicant data and the return of investment of your marketing spend against actual applications and enrollments. So if you do daily upload your sort of CRM data into Hubspot, then this would be a really, really useful integration to have. If you're not doing those daily updates, there's still some really useful features within Akero that can collaborate in combination with Hubspot for you to be able to improve conversion. So thank you. What we'll do now is we'll just give you a couple of minutes in case you've got any questions, and then Liv and I will be more than happy to answer them.
Okay, Julian, I believe we have a couple of questions. So the first one that's come through is, how long does an integration like this take to set up?
So as mentioned, depending on the actions that you want to happen in Hubspot, and depending on how the action that you want in Hubspot to trigger to come back to Akero, it could be something as simple as one workflow in Akero and 2 Zaps. It can be a really, really quick and simple integration to set up. As mentioned, if there's a specific use case, then we can cover it together, but it is a relatively simple integration to set up that whose benefits like massively outweigh the implementation setup.
Do you have to use Akero forms in order to achieve this integration?
So we would always advise using Akero forms because of how comprehensive they are in terms of having multi-part forms, the amount of fields that can be created, and how we've modeled them in order to improve conversion as much as possible. We have some really useful and comprehensive form analytics in terms of form abandonment, bottlenecks, multi-part form submissions, the device used to be able to complete these forms. And so I would recommend using Akero forms for that purpose, because then if you're also doing advertising with us, it means that that lead is in Akero immediately after form submission. Then also in Hubspot, it doesn't disrupt your day-to-day within Hubspot, but it means we have that lead data in Akero so we can, on a daily basis, optimize those campaigns for you.
Great.
Perfect.
I don't think there's any other questions, but like Julian said, please do feel free to kind of get in contact with our product doc success at Akero Labs, and we can get in contact with you regarding specific use cases. Thank you to everyone for listening today, and to Julian for presenting today.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice rest of the week.
Bye.